Happy Ace Week! I have a quiz that I'm very excited to take, the Am I Asexual quiz. I took one back in February for Arrow Week where I asked, am I actually aromantic? And so I'm going to be doing that again for Ace Week. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Favorite. I use they them pronouns, and I'm so excited for today's video. Social media is linked down below. Let's get into it. I do want to put something in really quick. I filmed a video back in March, so of course, it being me, it's 7 months late. But it is the Ace Lessons episode 2, where I talk about the split attraction model. It's a long video, and I just got around to editing it, and I'm not quite finished with it. So it'll be here soon. I didn't mean for it to be so long, but I kind of took my doll channel and focused on that for the last 7 months. And so I haven't really filmed anything for this channel except for dyeing my hair and then posting some older videos that are from last year. So that video is coming. Hopefully it'll be here before 2025. I hope to have it out next month, but it might be December. I don't know. But it is on the way. And then I can start working on episode 3. Whatever that's going to be. I think types of attraction. But we shall see. But let's get into the quiz. And of course, the quiz will be linked down below in case you want to take the quiz yourself. But let's get into it. I'm going to move to this side. So you think you might fall under the asexual umbrella, or maybe you experience sexual attraction in a non-traditional way. That's so awesome. The aim of this card is to provide a simple quiz to help you become aware of some asexual and lesser known sexual terms that you may or may not relate to. I will also be providing a glossary page for those who don't feel like clicking through all the options. You are in no way obligated to identify with the terms I provide in response to your answers. Yes, there are a bunch of microlabels. No, you're not obligated to know what every single one of them means. This quiz is purely for the purpose of education and exploration. You can identify with none of them, or you can identify with 10. Sexual attraction is fluid, complicated, and an entirely personal experience, just like your romantic orientation, gender identity, gender expression, what have you. That is why you'll see so many hyper-specific microlabels. They are not created as a way to divide us into neat little boxes, but are instead meant to empower those who identify with them and help them feel less alone. And then I'm going to click here first to see some useful terms that you might want to familiarize yourself with before proceeding. And so we have the types of attraction, we have the types of crushes, and the things that people confuse asexuality with, things that have been harmful for the community, some helpful terms, and more helpful terms. And now let's go to quiz time. Now, I know I'm asexual. The point of this is not to figure out if I'm asexual or not. It is to explore the different micro labels of asexuality. And I may identify with more than one, and we may make some discoveries today as we're taking this quiz. Meaning myself. I might find things about myself out that I didn't know before this video. I have some props that I'm going to be using for this video. I bought this a year ago and meant to use it a lot more, but here we are. And whenever one that I identify with, we're just gonna push this button, the button with the light bulb, because it's just like a light bulb going off, and this is what it sounds like. And we're gonna use that. Also, I have a little shot glass that is full of rings. And so whenever I identify with one, we are going to ring the light bulb and just add an ace ring. I mean, they're not ace ring colors because I already have one on, but we'll just, like collecting infinity stones, we will just add them and see how many we have at the end. I feel like that'll be a fun representation of my asexuality, having a bunch of ace rings. Can we catch them all is the question we have today. So first things first, do you feel sexual attraction towards other people? I'm going to first do no but. A, still desire a sexual relationship. B, open to sexual acts. C, have an interest in certain actions. And D, get aroused by sexual writings, drawings, not in real life. I read a lot of spicy romances, so we're going to go with D. You might be limnosexual. Limnosexual describes someone whose sexual attraction is only piqued by depictions of sexual acts, drawings, writings, and not the acts themselves in real life. So, we're gonna add the Batman ring as our first one. Take the one off my thumb just for the sake of the video. So we have one ace ring. You can't see it because it's really shiny, but it is a Batman one. Okay, we're gonna start again. Now let's do no ... I don't feel, it says romantic attraction, but I think it was supposed to be sexual attraction. A, don't generally experience it. B, don't feel sexual attraction whatsoever. C, don't experience it in any form, but I'm repulsed by the idea. And D, I feel indifferent. I kind of feel like D fits best. You might be apathsexual. Apathsexual. Apathsexual describes someone who lacks interest in acting on their attraction. Might feel indifferent, neutral, or apathetic to the idea of attraction or orientation. Also indifferent to their actions on having attraction being reciprocated. Which feels kind of accurate. So we're going to be adding another one. And we're going to be adding a silver version of my ace ring, which is the One Ring. So now we have 2. Let's now go for it varies. It varies, fluctuates, I only feel it sometimes. And so with this one, it's like experience, it's like fluid, rapidly changing, fluctuates, but generally stays in the asexual spectrum. sexual attraction is set, but with an exception. It comes and goes, but for no particular reason. It's somewhere between asexual and allosexual, almost non-existent, like vapor, fog, or mist. I feel like with this, a few of them could be accurate. So we're going to click a few of them. Let's just go in order. We're first going to go with B, fluctuates, but still with an asexual spectrum. And that's ace flux, someone whose sexual orientation fluctuates but generally stays in the asexual spectrum. May feel strongly asexual one day, less asexual another day, might feel demisexual, gray sexual at times. Some ace flux people may feel like they're allosexual at times. Other ace flux people don't feel that way. And with ace flux, to me it's kind of complicated because it may or may not do that for me. Sometimes I don't feel like it actually fluctuates. Maybe it is, but it's just very subtle because it's not a very strong feeling, and it's not one that's like in the forefront because I am kind of indifferent to the whole idea of it, and so it may be very subtle, but I do identify with more than one asexual micro-label. So for that reason alone, me falling on other ones, I'm personally just going to say because of that, and we're going to be adding the elephant ring to the lineup. A lot of them are, I do have some other colored rings, but we're going to go with the silver ones right now. And then we're going to go back. Let's see, because it maybe fluctuate, maybe I'll take that one back. Let's see what D says. Burst sexual. Burst sexual describes someone who normally completely asexual but occasionally experience sudden short bursts of sexual attraction. There may not be a specific reason. These are like infinity stones. I think we're gonna oh, wait, nope. We have another one. I'm gonna be using my class ring as another of the ace rings. So we have 4. And because we're still identifying with these, we're going to go with the last one, almost non-existent, like vapor, fog, or mist. Because it's not even like it peaks so much where it leaves asexual, but it does have its moments. And it feels almost non-existent. So we're going to go with, you might be caligosexual, which describes someone who feels sexual attraction that is very weak, vague, almost non-existent, like vapor, fog, or mist. And I do identify with that, so now I think we're out of silver. So we're gonna go with the black one I just had on because it fits on the thumb and I don't want to take it off again. So we have 5. We're going to keep them on to this side because I don't want to take my ace ring off. So we're just going to layer them up. Now we're going to start again. So we did no, but we did we do no? I can't remember if we did no. So let's click no. No, I don't. Yes, we did that one. So let's go with it varies next. Nope, we did that one too. Okay, let's do yes, but. Because we did talk about it fluctuating and having like spikes or bursts. So, yes. So we have A, I feel indifferent. B, only in theory. C, don't want it reciprocated or need it reciprocated. D, don't want no desire to receive the acts. E, don't want to only wants to receive the acts. F, influenced in part by neurodiversity. Or G, a strong aversion to it. And with this one, we already know what A is because we've already collected that ring. So we're gonna, this one, there's another one, there's a few that I'm like, my interest is piqued. And so hopefully I don't actually run out of ace rings because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. And I have 5 on. So hopefully we don't run out. I have more rings, I just don't know where they are. But let's go with B, in theory, because a lot of my things feel like it's in theory at best. You know, it's like, oh yeah, but only in theory, you know? So we're gonna go with B, which is asexual, which describes someone who has a disconnect from themselves and the subject of arousal. May have fantasies, but tend to feel limited attraction or none at all, and typically do not desire to have sexual acts with another person. And then it has some experiences. We're gonna go with the other Batman ring I have, which is the black version, because of course I had to get black. So we're just gonna start layering them up. That one feels like there is a disconnect between it. And so there is that. Going back. I think the other one I'm going to click on for this one is G. You might be asexual. Describe someone who experienced sexual attraction they want to act on, but at the same time a strong aversion in engaging in it due to bad experiences, apprehension, or other misgivings about being involved in sexual relationships or sexual activity. While it's typically used with people with PTSD or other trauma, it can also be used by neurodivergent people or disabled people whose neurodiversities or disabilities could cause apprehension about acting on one's sexual attraction. However, it can be used by anyone who feels a strong aversion to acting on sexual attraction. It also says acrosexual might not identify as asexual or aspect, but it is considered an asexual identity because one does not experience sexual attraction in the correct way as deemed by society. I do feel like a strong aversion to it and like with some apprehension and stuff like that. So I kind of do feel like this because everything is like in theory. For me, in theory, there is a lot of apprehension on it becoming less of a theory and becoming more reality. So we're gonna add another ace ring. And look at that, guys. I have a lot of Batman rings. We're going to include the blue Batman ring next. Why is that upside down? The next ring to be added. We have 3 more to add to the chaos. So we're going to start again. I think we did yes, but. Yeah. So now we're going to do depends. Depends on certain circumstances, such as need another form of attraction, only experiencing it after connection, developing after it's reciprocated, experiencing sexual attraction towards strangers, only experience attraction when desire when I'm very emotional, upset. This one I'm a little stumped on, so we're just gonna click to that are kind of interesting. Not necessarily that I experience it myself, but I just am curious as to what they're going to say. So that's going to be number A, apresexual, which is a subset of demisexuality, describes someone who only develops sexual attraction to someone after another form of attraction is felt. This other attraction could be romantic, platonic, queer platonic, alterous, or another type of attraction. The general attraction may or may fade away over time with new attraction replacing it. I'm going to say for now that's a no. For now. I'm not completely writing it off, but for now we're going to say that is not one that I identify with currently. And E, that's another one that seemed very interesting to me. And this one doesn't have a flag, but it's insensisexual, which describes someone who experiences sexual attraction or desire only when feeling very emotional. The emotions could include sadness, anxiety, fear, anger, jealousy, humiliation, compassion, joy, etc. Okay, it says sexual attraction or desire when feeling very emotional. That one I don't feel identifies me. So that one, it is interesting to know about other different micro labels within this asexual label. But this one I do not identify with. Let's go with I think so. I think I do, but I can't tell because I can't identify sexual attraction, so I'm not sure if I experience it. B, I have no clue, been questioning it so long it's part of my identity. Or C, neurodiversity, personality disorder, PTS affects my sexual attraction. I find the concept of sexual attraction to be inaccessible, inapplicable, or nonsensical. Let's click A. Coisexual, which describes someone who struggles to define their sexual orientation, can be considered a catch-all umbrella term for similar identities. And some of the experiences are listed too. I am gonna say no to this one. Let's go with C. Affectosexual, which describes someone whose sexual attraction is affected by their neurodiversity, especially fluctuating moods, personality disorder, or effects from PTSD, being a trauma survivor. Whether sexual attraction is present depends on one's state of mind. And comes from the Latin word affectus, meaning to feel, and affectus meaning condition, state, disposition, feeling, mood, emotion. 8. Let me see if I can figure out how to say this. Because it is on it's very hard to distinguish, like when I was saying with ace flux, because it feels very subtle. The subtlety, I don't notice as the changes, but the changes could also be subtle because it's triggered by emotions. Because a lot of times I'm just indifferent, but then there is something that causes the burst or the fluctuation in things. And while it's still on the asexual spectrum, it could be because of my brain itself. There are other terms that aren't in this quiz, and we'll probably do some more ace discoveries when we get down to that, when I get to different micro labels in my ace lessons, in my A lessons. This one, I am going to add it to the rings. And we have one more Batman ring that we're going to add to the collection. let's start again. I feel like we did a good variety of things. We're just gonna click yes 100%, even though that's not at all, just so we can like say we've clicked them all. Allosexual describes the opposite of asexual. I don't identify with this. Clearly, I've collected 8 ace rings so far, so that one clearly wasn't for me. And there's the other one which I can't tell, which is very similar to I think so. Those were very similar ones. And let's just click one. Asexuality, my sexuality attraction is set, but with an exception. That is boresexual. Boresexual describes someone who has an exception to their asexual orientation, usually revolving around a single person. And we're going to do like fluid or rapidly changing sexual attraction to different gender expressions. We're going to click that one, which is abrosexual. Abrosexual describes someone who has a fluid and a rapidly changing sexual orientation that fluctuates between different sexual orientations. It can happen between 2 or more orientations. Each abrosexual person has their own fluidity. It is not inconsistent. Some abrosexual people may not feel compelled to seek out relationship or may prefer a waivership. And I don't identify with that one. So far we're sticking with the 8. And we're just going to click E. I don't click, sometimes I don't click one because I already know which one it is. And so let's just click E. And that is graysexual. For the longest time, I kind of identified with graysexual, because it is like describes someone who relates with asexuality yet feels that there are parts of their experiences that aren't fully described by the word asexual, can be used as a specific identity or as an umbrella term. And because I that's the one that I've kind of like used. And so like I already know this is one that I feel like graysexual, if someone were to ask me more specifically, I would say graysexual because it is very gray for me. And I have collected like 8 rings, so you can kind of see like that I do identify with this one. I just don't click it because I knew that was the one that was for. But we are going to add a ring to it because for the longest time that is what I did identify with. So for far we have 9 and we have like 1 ring left. I experience sexual attraction infrequently, is very weak, experiencing feeling uncertain about whether they experience it only ambiguously, feeling alienated from sexual attraction. Like all of that does describe me, and it explains the other 8 rings. And so that one, I just don't click that one because I know which one is going to go to. And so I just don't click it. But I do experience, that is one that I have identified with for years. The other one I don't click on is for demisexual. One I don't identify, I think at first, before I really knew what asexual was, that's the one I went with. Didn't know that it was part of the asexual community until years later, and then when I actually like did some like self-reflection and thought, I'm like, I don't think that's actually accurate, so I don't click on when it says like when you get like an emotional connection one. I don't click that one because it's just like that's not accurate for me anymore. So I think I identified with demisexual, A, before I knew what asexuality was, and B, because I didn't experience it very, like, it is like such a weird, like, can't really describe thing, that it's like, maybe that's why I just haven't experienced it because I haven't had that kind of deep emotional connection with someone, and that's why it's just like, and then actually learning about asexuality is like, that label may not be accurate to me anymore. So that's one reason why I don't click that one. But I will click it so we can see the flag. Someone who does not experience sexual attraction until they have formed a deep emotional connection with someone. That one doesn't really fit for me. They are other counterparts: demi-romantic, demi-platonic, demi-alterous. Those other ones, probably demi-platonic and demi-alterous, are probably ones that I do actually identify with. But demisexual, no. And so, yeah, I think we've clicked through all of them. I don't think we clicked on every single one, different option, but there are so many. But hopefully this was informative. Out of the 10 rings we could have collected, we've collected 9, and I'm trying to see if you can see all of them. This one, the Batman symbol is like right there, and so like you may not see it, but it does have it on there. And so we've collected 9 ace rings. I did get this idea from like infinity stones, collecting the infinity stones, but I have a bunch of rings and I finally get to use them because I tend to wear just 2 typically, the ace ring and then the one on my thumb. But we're going to take them off now because it's kind of weird having rings on all of my fingers. That was me taking the Am I Actually Asexual quiz. I really like this quiz because not only does it, like, you can click a bunch of different things and just see the different micro labels that you may fall under, it also gives very good definitions. It gives you kind of examples, and they don't ask questions that make you feel uncomfortable. It asks you questions based on different micro labels that they know of based on other websites, and it has like glossaries. It has like some definitions for you to before you go into it, just so you know different terms. And I really like it. And so I chose this one instead of taking like multiple quizzes. I think this one is the best quiz. It doesn't have all the micro labels in it because there are so many. It said itself so many different specific micro labels, and I have found other micro labels in the past that I actually have related to that aren't in the quiz. And so when I actually go into different micro labels in the A lessons, I will definitely be talking more about different micro labels. And that video will either be super long or in multiple parts because there are so many labels, and trying to go through all of them, it will take some time and stuff. But that is all for today. If you end up taking this quiz, let me know how many ace rings did you end up collecting. I'm sitting at 9. I probably could sit with a few more, but they weren't in the quiz. So just let me know how many ace rings you got, or if you're comfortable, tell me which ones you actually identify with. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, bye!